Hello students, welcome back. Today we will start with a new chapter which is called acids, bases and salts. Before getting into the new chapter, let us have a look at the different topics that we will be covering in this chapter. We will learn about acids, bases, indicators. We will learn how to differentiate between exothermic and endothermic reaction. We will learn about acid rain and their neutralization reactions, neutralization in everyday life, and we will wrap the chapter up with a summary. Let us get started with the chapter. First, let us have a look at what are acids. An acid is a chemical substance that has a sour taste. Our body produces hydrochloric acid in stomach and lactic acid in muscles. So what is an acid? Acid is basically a chemical substance that has a sour taste. We consume food, right? And the food ends up in the stomach. Our stomach produces an acid called the hydrochloric acid. Why is the hydrochloric acid being produced in the stomach? It helps in better digestion of the food, as well as it also kills the microorganisms, the unwanted microorganisms that might have entered your body along with the food. And when you have rigorous exercise, then lactic acid is produced in the muscles. Many food items such as lemons, curd, vinegar and orange taste sour because of the presence of acid in them. So you must have seen when you consume lemons or orange or curd, vinegar, you get a sour taste. That sour taste is because of the presence of acid in them. Acidic substances are the substances that contain acid in them. Now let us have a look at the types of acids. Natural acids are the acids that occur in nature. For example, acids found in fruits are natural acids. They have another name. They are also called organic acids. They are naturally occurring acids produced by plants and animals, except hydrochloric acid. HCl stands for hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid, which is produced by our body, is not a naturally occurring acid or an organic acid. It's a mineral acid. Now, what is a mineral acid? Mineral acids are those that are prepared from minerals like nitric acid, sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid. Let us have a look at some uses of acids. Acids have many important uses, like hydrochloric acid is used to clean wash basins and other sanitary wares. You must have seen in the advertisements that hydrochloric acid is being used to clean the sanitary wares. The acid that is shown in the advertisement is basically mostly hydrochloric acid. It is also used as a reagent in laboratories. HCl or hydrochloric acid is also used in the laboratories for conducting various experiments. Sulfuric acid is used in automobile batteries and in industries. So the automobile batteries that are there, they contain sulfuric acid. Goldsmiths use nitric acid to clean jewelry. So for cleaning jewelry also acid is used, and that acid is mostly nitric acid. Let us have a look at some of the pictures of sources of acids. You will see that you have a table given in your book which contains the names of the source of acids. I have added some pictures for your better understanding. Vinegar contains acetic acid. Lemon, as we had discussed, contains citric acid. Tomato contains oxalic acid. Grapes contain tartaric acid. Milk contains lactic acid. Ants have formic acid. And apple has malic acid. All of these are naturally occurring acids or organic acids. Now let us have a look at bases. A base is a chemical substance that has a bitter taste and a soapy texture. So what are bases? If you have ever touched a soap, which we are using a lot during these days, since it is feasible for us and important for us to use a soap, this soap contains base. And if by chance you have tasted soap someday, you must remember that it has a bitter taste, not a very good taste. Bases are found in different substances such as bleach, ammonia, washing powder and soap. So mostly the substances that are used for cleaning purposes contain bases in them. Some common bases are calcium hydroxide in lime water. Remember what we had studied in the previous chapter, physical and chemical changes. Lime water turns milky. That is calcium hydroxide. It's a base. Sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, they are present in soap solutions. Ammonium hydroxide in window cleaners and magnesium hydroxide in milk of magnesia. We had also learned about magnesium hydroxide in our previous chapter, physical and chemical changes. Bases that dissolve in water are also called alkaline. And all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. Meaning what? All bases do not dissolve in water. Only certain bases dissolve in water. And those bases which dissolve in water, only those are called alkalis. Hence, all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. There are some bases which do not dissolve in water. Basic substances are the substances that contain a base in them. Certain uses of bases are, it's used in the soap, textile, plastic and many other industries. Used in petroleum refining. Used in cleaning processes and in antacids. Now we have learned about basic substance and acidic substance. There is also something like water, which is neither acidic nor basic in nature. What do we call them? Neutral substance. So what is a neutral substance? Neutral substance is any substance which is neither acidic nor basic in nature. Let us have a look at some examples of bases. Soap, as we had mentioned, contains sodium hydroxide. Household cleaners contain ammonium hydroxide, and antacids contain calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, etc. This is a list of naturally occurring acids in nature. Acetic acid found in vinegar, formic acid in ant sting, citric acid in citrus fruits, lactic acid in curd, oxalic acid in spinach, ascorbic acid, vitamin C in amla, citrus fruits, etc. and tartaric acid in tamarind, grapes, unripe mangoes, etc. All the acids mentioned above occur in nature. They are naturally occurring acids or organic acids. Now look at some bases. Calcium hydroxide is lime water. Ammonium hydroxide is a window cleaner. Sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide, we use it in soap solutions. And magnesium hydroxide or milk of magnesia is used in antacids. Now we will come to a very interesting part. What is it called? We will learn about indicators. As the name suggests, indicators are certain substances that help us to indicate something, that help us to conclude something. Why do we use indicators suddenly? We cannot taste every object that is found in nature. They might turn out to be harmful to our body. Therefore, we use indicators. What is an indicator? An indicator is a substance that can determine if another substance is acidic or basic in nature. So, indicator is indicating whether a substance is acidic or basic. How is it indicating? An indicator indicates the presence of an acid or base in a substance by changing their color. So, these are beautiful color changing reactions. There are two types of indicators, natural indicators and synthetic indicators. Natural indicators, as the name suggests, are obtained from naturally occurring sources or substances like turmeric, China rose paper and petals and litmus paper are some natural indicators. And what are synthetic indicators? They are made in the laboratory. So anything that is not naturally occurring and is made in the laboratory are synthetic indicators. For example, phenolphthalein, methyl orange, etc. We will have a detailed discussion in the coming slides. Let us get started with learning about indicators. The first thing that we will learn about is litmus. Litmus is a natural indicator. The most commonly used natural indicator is litmus. Litmus is extracted from lichens. Lichen consists of fungi and algae living in a symbiotic relationship. Now, do you remember the term symbiotic relationship? We had studied this in the very first chapter called Nutrition in Plants, where symbiotic relationship was a relationship in which both organisms benefit each other. Now we know fungi doesn't have chlorophyll in it, so it cannot make its own food. So it derives or obtains food from the algae, and the algae in turn takes protection and shelter from the fungi. So they are mutually benefiting each other. It's a symbiotic relationship, and that organism where that relationship is termed as lichen, and litmus is obtained from lichen. Since it's obtained from a naturally occurring source, it is said to be a natural indicator. Litmus is available in the form of solution or paper strips of two colors, blue and red. Litmus gives a purple color in distilled water. In acidic solution, blue litmus paper turns red, while red litmus remains red. And in case of a basic solution, red litmus paper turns blue, while blue paper remains blue. Very, very important. Don't get confused. In acidic solution, blue litmus turns red, and in basic solution, red litmus turns blue. These pictures are given for your better understanding. See, the blue litmus is turning red. So what is this solution? This solution is an acid, and the red litmus is turning blue. What is this solution? This is basic. Now you can see that there is an activity given in your book to test the effect of acidic and basic solutions on litmus paper. Certain materials are taken like blue and red litmus paper, dropper, dilute lemon juice, detergent, shampoo, vinegar, sugar and salt solution, milk of magnesia, etc. Now all of these are very easily available in your own place. Look at the procedure. Put a drop of dilute lemon juice on a strip of the red litmus paper. Observe the color of the litmus paper and repeat the same on blue litmus paper. Is there any change in the color of the litmus paper? Repeat the same activity for different solutions and record your observations in the following table. Now I want you all to make the observation table for yourself and write it down in the comment section below. What do you think is going to be the effect of detergent on the blue litmus paper and the red litmus paper? And what do you infer? Is it an acid or a basic solution? Same for salt, sugar, vinegar and so on. And what do you conclude? The solution of lemon juice is said to be acidic, but what about the others? Write it down in the comment section. I want everyone to participate and write it down in the comment section. I will look forward to your answers. And if there are any doubts pertaining to the portion that I have already covered in this video, do not forget to write it down in the comment section. I will definitely get back to you as soon as possible. Until then, keep reading the chapter and following the videos on YouTube. If you have understood very well, let me know that the video was understandable and you don't have any doubts, and keep posting the answers. I will look forward to finding out more and more students participating and writing down their own observation table. So that's it for now for this video. We will continue with the chapter in the next video. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day and keep safe.